All right, so I'm going to film a short little Vinyasa flow. We're going to use this as a tool to help us prepare for our Power Vinyasa and Meridians workshop coming up in a couple of months. But for the purposes of right now, it's just kind of something to put out on the internet. Maybe if you want to practice along in a short little 5-10 minute thing. Anytime you need to wake up and start your day, you can go ahead and do it. Let's start with a downward facing dog. Fingers are spread wide, hips are lifted. Working on just loosening up the head, neck, and shoulders, and the thighs and the hips to begin. And then I'd like you to work on extending the arms while softening the shoulders. Play with that a couple times, articulating the elbows, shaking out the head and the neck. Find some space for your collarbones to breathe. And then think about your lower body. You're working on making sure that your tailbone is lifted up while the heels are extended down. That's hard to do because sometimes you'll tilt in the opposite direction, so maybe bending the knees is your solution. Lengthening the arms, softening the shoulders, lengthening the legs, softening the hips. Take one more breath, inhale. As you exhale, shift forward to your plank posture. Try to keep a gaze at the horizon. Your sternum wants to be able to see where the corner of the floor meets the wall. Feel your upper arm bones, your humerus bones, plugged into your shoulder sockets, a very stable rotator cuff. Try not to let the pelvis dip, try not to let the pelvis lift. Straight line from heels to skull. Feeling like your forearms are squeezing the mat together. Feel very strong and sustainable. Take one more breath here. As you exhale, come up to your tippy toes, strong arm connection, bending your elbows, keeping your gaze forward, squeezing the midline. Hang out here in chaturanga for a few breaths. Really using your fingertips so that you don't crunch your wrists, continuing to let the sternum extend forward so you don't round your head but pressure your rotator cuffs, engaging your core, breathing 3, 2, and on 1, come over the toes, lift the hips into your full upward facing dog. Relax the shoulders back down your spine as you extend your torso forward. Breathing for 3. You can really press through the tops of your feet, re-release the shoulder blades, extend the heart 2. And on 1, we'll continue up and back to downward facing dog, stepping over the toes. From here, lifting your heels, extend through the armpits, relaxing your head, and take baby steps forward all the way to your Uttanasana, your forward fold at the front of your mat. Let your feet rest at hip distance for this one. Inhale, extend your halfway rise, maybe a little pedaling of the legs, working out through the backside of the hamstrings, the outer edges of your hips, and then exhale, lower down. So with our Uttanasana here, sometimes it's nice just to loosen the legs, to round the back, let the chest rest on the thighs, maybe even wrap the hands behind your legs or grab opposite elbows. Other times you can work to engage by pulling the inner thighs back, lifting the tailbone, and extending the skull towards the floor. Sometimes it's, Padasana with the hands underneath the feet, Padangustasana with the toes tucked and the elbows bent out to the side. Either way, so many different variations of your forward fold. There's a little bit of a focus on the arches lifted, the inner thighs rotating backwards, and the torso surrendering. Come back up to that halfway rise. I like to be here on the fingertips, constantly re-extending the sternum forward, gazing at the horizon, pulling the inner thighs back, and extending the heart. Exhale, release down, soften the head, neck, and shoulders, and then come all the way up to standing. Your Tadasana, look forward to rise. Your arms can reach up along with your head, and then soften the fingers down through your heart center to your sides. Finally, standing tall, having loosened up the body, I like to have feet hip distance, arches lifted, feeling an upward sensation of the inner thighs, a grounding sensation on the outer thighs and the back side of the body. Once I've got those spirals in the legs really plugged in, I'll figure out what's happening in the upper body. I try to draw the navel in and up as my focus, working from that center of gravity, loosening up the lower back, relaxing the shoulders. Eventually, the hands, they can be facing forward to the sides. Not too concerned about that, but feel as though there's a string through the center of your skull lifting you, feeling that sense of levity within the body. Breathe here for 3. Soften the shoulders. Feel engaged through that midline, the central axis of the body. 2. Now let's move through a couple rounds of our sun salutation A. Inhale, elevate the arms, reach up, watch your hands meet. As you exhale, soft bend the knees, extending your heart forward, fold and let your fingertips find the floor. Relax your head and neck, Uttanasana. Inhale, rise halfway, gaze ahead, shoulders down the back. As you exhale, wide fingers, forward gaze, strong arms, step back to plank and lower. Elbows hug the midline, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale into your upward facing dog, shoulders relaxed away from the neck, pulling the mat backwards to extend your heart forwards. Exhale, lifting up and back into your downward facing dog, stepping over the toes, extending the armpits, relaxing the collarbones, head and neck and shoulders are comfortable, hips lift, inner thighs pull back to draw the heels closer to the floor. Another cue is to widen the shoulder blades to help draw the chest slightly in so that you're not flailing it towards the floor like this. Give yourself the best looking triangle, the best looking mountain that you can find, given your current state of flexibility. Take one more inhale here. As you exhale, we can bend our knees slightly, look forward about 6 inches in front of the mat, and possibly float. Landing in Uttanasana. Inhale, rise halfway. Exhale, soften low, heavy head and neck. Rise, extending forward to lift up tall, arms to the sky, and thumbs to our heart center. One more round just like that. Inhale to rise. A little more fluid movement this time. Exhale, folding forward, relaxing the head, neck, and shoulders. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, we can go through plank again. We're just stepping this go around. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog, shoulders relaxed. Downward facing dog, lifting that tailbone as though it is the summit of your personal mountain. Shoulder blades wide, armpits long. Take one more inhale here as you exhale. Gently bend the knees, look forward, and work on finding your possible float downward and extend. Arms reach tall and thumbs to your heart center. We're going to throw in a couple little warriors lunges, reach the arms tall. Exhale, fold. This time, if you're looking for a little more advanced version of Chaturanga, inhale, rise halfway. As you exhale, we bend the elbows and possibly float the legs into Chaturanga Dandasana, continuing to up dog and down dog. I like to find the central axis here. Feet come together, lifting the right leg up and back. As we exhale, round the back, use core control to lightly step the right foot between your hands. Looking forward, spin the left heel to the floor and reach forward to rise to your warrior one. This is a very, very, very argued, debatable pose. What do I do with that left foot? Where does it go? Personally, I'm always adjusting it. I'm more focused on my right leg, my hip, knee, and second toe being very stable. I also don't want to collapse either arch. Eventually, maybe that left hip rolls a little bit further forward, but that's dependent upon the ability to spiral my back heel. It's complicated. It doesn't have to be perfect. More focused upon relaxing through the hips, possibly creeping that front heel forward as I breathe. Draw the navel in and up so we're not cranking the lower back, but we're nice and tall. Take one more inhale here, facing forward. As we exhale, we can open up into our warrior two. The front leg stays very steady, hip, knee, heel, straight line. The rear foot, it's going to turn a little bit more, so maybe a 90-degree angle. Arms eventually can open up into our nice letter T, but that's just decoration. I'd rather you find your hips, your legs feeling good and steady first. Both arches engaged, relaxing through the pelvis, Pressing through the outer edges of the feet, feel it opening up like a book in the inner thighs. If your spine is doing anything wonky here, try to lengthen the navel in and up, and then you have your strong center. Your torso perpendicular to the floor. Looking over the front arms is kind of a nice way to check your alignment if you have a mirror in front of you. Maybe as you keep relaxing, your front heel is willing to scooch forward, knee stays above the heel. Take one more inhale here and exhale. On your following inhale, we reverse the warrior, keeping our legs as they are. And the exhale, we can windmill forward, let both hands come to the ground, step back to skip the vinyasa into a downward dog. Second side, lift the leg up, slowly round the back, tuck the knee in towards the body as you lunge it forward. Spin the right heel to the floor, maybe 45-degree angle, reach forward to rise to ensure your upper body is square to the front of the room. Soften your shoulders. Calibrate by moving the right foot as you need to. Constantly kind of bouncing it out at first. Find that the hips are sustainable, navel in and up, and then return the arms towards the ceiling. Eventually settle into a pretty good posture, taking a few breaths and feeling that you're getting work in the thighs. Take one more inhale. As you exhale, we're going to open up. Again, it's a little waddle to get into your warrior two. There's more space between your feet because your pelvis was forward. Now it's open, so there's naturally more space. You have a better chance of aligning a heel to an arch if that's what you're looking for. And then the arms reach out. Gaze is over the front arm, navel in and up. Option to creep deeper by sliding that front foot as it sees fit. Relax the shoulders. Relax the pelvis. On your next inhale, reverse it for one breath and let it ride through your vinyasa. Windmill both hands. We will vinyasa this time. Maybe the legs lifted if you'd like. Shifting towards your plank. Chaturanga, gazes forward. Toes drop for a cobra or up dog. Convene in downward dog. Changing up a little bit. Right leg lifts. Slow lunge forward, rising to warrior one. Relaxing the shoulders and opening to warrior two. Reversing the warrior and then extending it. Right arm forward, elbow to knee, extending the left arm. So there's a straight line from pinky to pinky toe to hand. Now we can look down here. We're working to make our way towards half moon pose. In our extended side angle, we start to feel it by making sure that the left hip is lifting up on top of the right. Pelvis is open as opposed to rounding it and letting the butt stick out. We need to help ourselves by drawing the navel in and up. The more that we move from our center, the more efficient all of these poses will become. To help ourselves out for our half moon, we're going to step the left foot a little bit closer and then creep the fingertips down to the floor. Now optimally there's a block here, but I don't have it at the moment. So instead, I'm going to make sure that I go to tented fingers and I'm going to start to shift my weight into the right arm so that I can effortlessly lift the left leg so that it is parallel to the floor. Now my upper body's not perfect right now, it's dive bombing the ground, but that's okay. I want to make sure that I still have support on my right hand because my goal is to ensure my left hip is stacked entirely on top of my right. I can't be having a rolling down hip or I will never feel comfortable in this pose. It's gotta open up and we find that by drawing the navel in and up. When all of that is connected, that's when I no longer need the right fingertips on the ground and I can float into this nice parallel to the floor upper body. Arms are open like airplane wings. Looking down is perfectly fine. You can challenge your gaze to the side or maybe up. To exit, this is critical, don't mind that. We're going to bring the fingertips back down to the floor, look down, and bend the front knee to step back to your warrior, reverse it, and windmill the hands to the floor. Step back, skip the vinyasa, downward facing dog. Recalibrate, left leg up and back. Slowly round it as you lunge forward between the hands. Spin the right heel to the floor. Reach forward to rise. Warrior one, chest forward. Exhale, warrior two. Adjust the feet, widen the hips. Keep the legs low. Reversing the warrior, lengthening the left edge of the body. Whoops. On your exhale, extend the left arm forward, rest the elbow on the knee, extend the right arm over the ear. Check that you're not cranking the belly forward, you're drawing the navel in and up. Shoulder has room to breathe with the collarbone away from your ear. The line of energy from your right pinky foot to your right pinky finger along the whole right edge. Look down, shorten your extended side angle enough that you can reach and get to the floor, optimally a block. Once you've got your hands to something, we're going to use that, pour the weight so that that right leg lifts effortlessly. The right arm can help by lifting up to the ceiling. Now as we get in trouble, if that right hip keeps rolling forward, we're never going to get balance and strength in this pose. So we start finding the strength by drawing the navel in and up. Once we have that, the right hip can sit on top of the left hip, and that's where the right arm lifts, and the left arm can float up off the ground into a very strong half-moon pose. The whole body fits beautifully between two sort of, they call it the panes of glass. You just want to feel like you could be lying up against a wall and your entire spine is flush to the wall. Take one more breath here. Again, to safely exit, bring the hand down. Keep the hips open as you bend the front knee and come back to your reverse warrior. And let it ride. We'll take our vinyasa this time with the possibility of really lifting the leg high, gazing forward towards our plank. Maybe we find the chin balance and slowly upward dog, downward facing dog. And we'll take our final rest with our knees together, toes back, sitting on the heels, plug the hips close to the heels, and then surrender to child's pose, knees together, breathing big across the spine, relaxing the shoulders, the head, and the neck. A little bit of compression, releasing the chest, the rib cage, the diaphragm, and the abdomen. All of the protectors of your internal organs, allow them to soften, and allow the internal organs to also soften with it. When you're finished here, not a bad way to start the rest of your day. Thank you. Namaste. All the best.